Hi, I'm here with Anna Rudicel, and she is the social media manager at Vera Bradley. And I have her here today just to answer a few questions about her work with social media. So Anna, I understand that you are the director of social media in the public relations department at Vera Bradley, right?
Yes.
Well, could you tell us a little bit about what you do in that role?
Yes. So my title is social media manager, and my current job is to post and kind of get everything together for the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We also have a blog, and right now I'm getting together all of those assets that go live on all of those channels. I also write all of the posts for that and work with designers to make sure that we're having all of the right graphics. I also work with the marketing team to plan a lot of those creative stories that we're telling on social. So that's kind of my role in a nutshell. I'm under PR because we are a consumer-facing group. We're kind of the face of the company as social media, and so yeah.
Great. Well, I think you answered part of this question, but I'd like a little bit more in depth. So I understand you use multiple channels to promote your organization. So which social media sites do you use most often, and why do you use those?
Most often we use Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our blog. Like I said, we have Pinterest. We do a little bit of play there. We also have a YouTube channel. We did have Google Plus, and that's kind of fading away now. But mostly we use the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We have blog posts that go live about 3 times a week, so we do link from our Facebook and Twitter to the blog. But I think most often, and kind of the best platform for us right now, is Instagram. That's kind of growing with our target audience, which is about 28 to 34-year-olds. Instagram is where everybody is right now. We're trying to produce really beautiful content in that space to make it feel a little bit more elevated. And that's where a lot of people are going right now to shop and to look at beautiful images. So that's kind of a space where we are playing a lot right now.
Okay. Well, that's helpful. So you've shared some examples of ways your company does market research. You've talked about that a little bit with me, to identify their target audience and engage them. And you told us your target audience was?
It's about 28 to 34 years old.
Okay.
Women.
So could you tell us, again, for the purposes of our students who are learning to use social media and incorporating it for PR purposes, marketing purposes, could you tell us how you use the information to create messages for those audiences?
Yes, in using market research to create messages for that target audience.
Right, how does that inform the messages that you create, the content, the images?
So like I said, our target audience is that 28 to 34-year-old female. And so what we're mostly looking at is we're researching kind of that, we call her the day maker. We kind of attach a name to her and a personality, a persona, and that way we can kind of easily do research around that personality and see what images she really wants to see, kind of what things she's looking at on Pinterest, what she's looking at on her blog. So her persona is a day maker, so that's kind of a term that we made up, and it's just somebody that she's very organized, but she also likes really beautiful things. One description of her that I really like is that she loves to go work out, but at the same time she'll skip a workout and go get a cocktail with friends and not feel guilty about that. So she's just kind of that girl next door, fun woman that loves organization, loves to travel, that kind of thing. So a lot of our research is done on that type of woman. We've done a lot of focus groups, figuring out what she likes, what images she gravitates towards, what she's buying, what she's doing after work. And another thing, really, at Vera Bradley, we have a lot of day makers at our work. And I consider myself a day maker, so it's really easy to influence them through what we're doing on social.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So you've mentioned that the purpose of many of your messages is to gain responses. So now I want to talk a little bit about engagement and how you try to engage your audience through social media and through the blog. So you want more than just likes on your Facebook page, for example. So what are some tips that you can offer regarding ways to engage an audience? I know one time we had talked and you had about 10 just right off the bat. So could you share some of those, maybe give a few examples?
Yeah. Well, they're different on every single channel. So the way that you would try to engage someone on Instagram is different than what you would do on on the blog. So an example that I would give would be on the blog. If we have a story kind of about, here's some tips on how to pack a carry-on, we would give those tips, write the post, kind of try to create beautiful imagery and share it on our social channels. On the blog, to try to get engagement, try to get comments, try to get people to pin our blog, that kind of thing. What we would do was at the end of the copy, we could sometimes ask, where are you going next? What travel place are you going to next? Another thing that we can do for blog to get more engagement on our blog or to get people to click over to our blog more is pin images from the blog. People from Pinterest all the time, I'll click on, we'll kind of pin a teaser image and you click on that and it takes you right to the blog website. Another thing that we can do is share it on our social channels. So we can share it on Facebook and link directly to the blog. And something on Facebook would be, again, kind of a teaser. We'd say something like, here's a great bag to take if you're going somewhere. See the tips that we're going to give you today on this. Kind of tease it that way. Another way to get really good engagement, we'll also post it on Instagram. A lot of times we don't get clicks from Instagram to the blog because she has to go into our profile to click the link into the blog. But it's also just a great, if somebody really wants to see it, they will go to the profile. So those are just a few ways.
Okay, so ask questions, pin images, share, and then offer tips?
Yeah.
Okay.
Another great thing to do if you're just sharing an image on Facebook or Instagram is to ask for people to tag a friend in the comments. So something that we'll do a lot is if we're trying to get more engagement on that post or if it's something kind of fun. For example, for the Super Bowl, we this past year, we posted 2 images of the patterns that were kind of playing off against each other, and both of the patterns kind of emulated the Broncos and the Panthers. And so we said, who do you want to win the Super Bowl? Comment if you want the Broncos, and just like this if you want the Panthers. People don't always read that because we did have some comments that said, go Panthers when they were just supposed to like the image, but it drives engagement, and that's enough. And that's how we measure success on social, is by engagement levels.
So what was your engagement like for that one?
That was really great. We had definitely above average comments and above average likes on that post.
And what's average for you guys? Traffic?
Traffic for Instagram, and it's different for each channel, but for Instagram, we consider above average to be anything above the 5,500 likes range. And above average for comments would be anything above 35 comments.
Okay.
So I think on that post, I would need to look again, but the last time I checked, I think we had around 70 comments, maybe more at the end of the night. So just being relevant too with your fans, making sure that you're keeping up with trends and making sure that you don't post on something really a tragedy that happened that day. We're not going to post about a sale. We may not post about the tragedy because that might not be in our brand speak. People don't care to hear that from us, but we also just need to make sure that we're being aware of all of that.
Okay. And how often do you post in a day, in a week?
It definitely varies. We do about 3 to 4 blog posts a week. And then on Facebook, we'll post about 2 times a day, Twitter 3 times a day, Instagram 2 to 3 times a day.
Okay. Wow, great. So you're busy.
Busy, yes.
Okay. Another question I want to find out from you is, what has been the most effective medium out of the social media that you've talked about? What do you think has been the most effective for driving engagement, for getting people more informed, for building the image of the company?
It's definitely changed over the years since we've started social media, but I would say right now it's definitely Instagram, and that's mostly because that's kind of where everyone is headed. Facebook, people may check their Facebook once a day. People are on Instagram, we're seeing multiple times a day. Okay. So that's definitely, we've seen a big growth in Instagram just in this past year. So That's not necessarily, now if you would talk to a marketer or someone on our merchandising team, they would say that Instagram is not successful because they're looking for sales. We can't really measure KPI or sales on Instagram because people aren't going to the site from our picture.
Okay.
So we measure that by engagement, followers increase, things like that.
Okay, great. So you use Instagram the most then?
I would say right now, yes, it's definitely the most on our radar.
Okay. You talked a little bit about your blog before, and I know you mentioned that you have a colleague who devotes a good portion of her time of marketing resources to blogging. So would you explain a little bit why blogging can be an effective means for increasing engagement, and then also explain the criteria you guys have for a good blog?
Yeah, I would say the blog is kind of one of our best projects, and definitely you're going to need, if you're in the retail space or really in a lot of companies, I think that coming into this digital age, blogs are almost just as important as a website. It kind of gives that more real feeling to your consumer. We kind of have a voice on the blog. We have a copywriter that works on it. I also write for the blog a little bit. I have a journalism background, so I do some of the writing for the blog and share that with a copywriter that also does some other marketing material for us. So there is a whole voice behind it. It's called the Inside Stitch, and we just make sure that every single post kind of speaks in the tone that Vera Bradley. Every company has a tone that they want to speak out to the consumer, and there's certain words that you don't say, there's certain things that you call the different products and that kind of thing. So we make sure that's consistent, and consistency is extremely key in your blog, not only in your content and what you're showing, but also in how many times you post. So even if it's just a personal blog, if you post 3 times in a week, and then you don't show up for 3 weeks, your followers are going to plummet because they can't rely on you. You may have had really good reactions, but they don't know when you're going to post again. So we really try to also be consistent in how often we're posting. And then really just the type of content that you're putting out there. You don't want to be if it's not good content, then we don't post it. I mean, we have definitely skipped some blog posts that kind of fell flat, and either the images weren't pretty enough for the page, or we just didn't feel like it was very strong. So I would say that's another thing, is just making sure that images are worthy of your blog post.
Okay, very good. And this is my final question for you. So how often do you use the blog to drive traffic to your website or other social media? So I'm just looking for, you've talked about all of that, so how important is that? How often does that happen?
So on our blog, pretty much if you would just go there right now, we have a post up, and almost every single post has Vera Bradley product in it in some way. It's either where it's featuring the product, and that's kind of the hero of the post, or it features the product in as a secondary way. We always link our product on the blog back to the website. So if you click on the product, it'll take you to our website. I also put in codes in there so that we are able to track when people click on those posts or on the image in the blog and goes to the website. We can do analytics to see how many clicks that got, if that product was bought, how that worked, and then we're able to respond in a great way to that. Another thing that we do is we'll share it on Facebook and Twitter, and through those links, I also have codes on those links as well. So if somebody clicks over, they see on my Facebook, on the Vera Bradley's Facebook page that, oh, we're doing a great blog post today about hotel room workouts. If somebody clicks that link and it goes over to the blog, we can see that as well. So we're able to track that and see, okay, is this working? Is this kind of copy working that's kind of teasing it enough that makes people want to go read the post? Are people interested in this content? So that's really a great way to see, and I think a blog is one of our most influential tools on social that we use. I would probably it's just going to grow and thrive, and seeing more and more retailers and businesses have blogs. It's just kind of depends on how you use it. Yeah.
Great. Well, that's all the questions I have for you today. Do you have anything else to share with us you think our students might benefit from learning?
I would just say that if you are wanting to get involved in the social media or digital world, that's definitely a job that's going to be even more and more popular as the years go by. So if you are, a sophomore or a junior or even a senior and you're looking to get involved in that world, get as much experience as you can.
And what type of experience?
That's a great question. So we are actually currently hiring a coordinator. I actually just hired one today to help me. And the experience that we really looked for was kind of her personal, what she's doing personally. She had her own blog. She had her own fashion blog, and that pertained to what we were looking for. She had great content. Everyone knows, every millennial knows how to work social. So, but the thing is, do you know how to create actual good content for a company? So she had really great skills in creating good content, creating a calendar, being organized.
So she knows how to write well?
Yes.
Okay, so those journalism
Exactly.
skills are important.
Yes, knowing how to write well. And if that's not your skill, then bring another skill to the table, such as maybe you're a great designer or a photographer, because that's also another thing that we would love to use is somebody that has a good eye, because we're constantly I take photos with my phone sometimes because I don't have time to get a photo shoot in. So somebody with a great eye and that has, some simple editing skills on their phone is something that's awesome too, because this world is so fast and things on social just blip by really quickly. So sometimes we have to just snap a picture and post it and it's done. So those are some definitely key skills to learn.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. You've been so helpful, and I thank you for sharing with us today, and perhaps you'll get a few more followers on your site from this interview.
Hopefully.
So thank you.
Yeah, thanks.